Okay, cool. So welcome back. It's been a while. Here, I'm gonna stand on this side, because that way we can get a good view of your hands. Okay, let's go ahead and just warm up. Going over some of the stuff we did last time. I love warming up with stick control. So we had talked about this the last time we were together. And I'd like to just read down some of these patterns. So we talked about doing the whole right side, I think, or something along those lines. And remember, just the goal is to be nice and as consistent as possible with your sound and your stroke. So here's what I want to do. I just want to, we'll read straight down, take the repeat. So ba 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 2, and that should be more than enough to get a nice warm up in. 1, 2, here we go. Cool. No, and I got tripped up every once in a while in there too. But what's nice about this too is that when you're playing it with somebody else, you can start on different patterns and it should still all sound consistent. So that's good. That's good. Let's talk a little bit about that. One thing I notice is that at starts of phrases, sometimes there just tends to be a little bit of a pulse, especially up with number 3 and 4. And then especially when we went into 4, there was very definitive. And so let's just revisit these two in particular real fast, and let's just try and really even out that double, because that'll transition into some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. Okay. So go ahead and just read straight through, no repeat. So bop 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 bop, 2 and 3 and go and. And then I just encourage you to, again, just think about remaining consistent as the hands transfer from one to the next. I see a little bit of a prep coming up, but that's all getting very, very picky. Okay. And so, but that's good. It sounds open. Your hands look relaxed. So cool. For next time, we'll go ahead and get these guys going. Best way to practice this, of course, is with metronome, and just repeat each one like 8 to 16 times and just get really comfy with the sticking, and then start working on blending them. So, okay, cool. Let's go ahead and just double check. Can we do the 4-3-2? That one. And I just want to watch you real fast. So remember, it's 4 for 4 times.
4,
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Then left. And then 3s. 3s. 2. 2. Done.
Okay.
Okay. And just really focus on staying relaxed and controlling those upstrokes. Go for it. Good.
No, that's with like 4 and then 3. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 4s, 3s, 2s.
Okay.
That's good. And we won't worry about repeats or anything like that
Yeah.
for now.
Okay.
Okay. How'd you feel about that?
When I started, I was like, but then I kept going. I was like, okay, I got it.
Okay. Cool. I'm gonna play you something, and this is gonna be very exaggerated.
Okay.
But I want you to tell me sort of what's going on. And this is sort of what I was hearing in your playing. So we started. So can you kind of tell what's happening?
Pause.
Yeah. So the motion is good, but the pulse just really isn't remaining consistent. We're not sticking straight to those eighth notes. Okay. So this next time, I want you to just do it again real fast and really place. Let's see if I can do this. Really place. With the eighth note.
Four.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So you kind of feel how it's really the taps that you have to exercise control from those back fingers and whatnot. That sounded way better than the first time. Let's do that one more time, but without me clicking.
Okay.
And really, really just focus on locking in ga 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 the whole time, especially on the 4s.
Okay.
What'd you think?
Better?
Yeah, I would say it was definitely better than the first time. But
Better than the first time?
just when we got to the 2s, it just felt like it wanted to just push a little bit, especially on those upstrokes. Making sure everything is nice and rounded out. But good, yeah. So just considerations to keep working on with that. But I really am enjoying the motion a lot better. That left hand still tends to rotate outwards just slightly, but again, I think the more you're able to just focus on relaxing that stroke and tracing that vertical line with the beat, the easier it's going to become. But again, just something to consider as you're playing on your own. Okay, next thing I want to actually introduce to you is rudiments. So we've talked about the 4 basic stroke types. So if the 4 basic stroke types are notes on the keys, the rudiments or the permutations of said basic stroke types together sort of become the scales or the fundamental building blocks of our language. So That's almost essentially what these are. They're just different combinations of sticking patterns that we use to build our musical vocabulary. So they're very, very important, and oftentimes it's how we, rudimental drummers like communicate licks and ideas and concepts to each other. So the ones I'd like to start with, which are, I believe, the most fundamental ones, and we're lucky enough that we have the chart right here in front of us. So single stroke roll, which stick control has been starting to develop for us. The double stroke roll, double stroke open roll, buzz, flams. So we're just going to briefly go over these, and then for next time we'll start implementing them into some of our warm-up processes and whatnot. So let's go ahead and start with the buzz roll, because it's sort of just a wildly different thing. So here's what I want to do to start working on building the buzz roll. What we're going to do is we're going to practice getting as many buzzes or as many bounce out of one single stroke as we can. So go ahead and just experiment with that. Good. Yeah. So see if you can make that left hand consistent with the right hand. No. Good. Keep going, keep going. What I want to do is I want to speed our hands up. Same motion. Be careful, try to avoid the dragging motion. Nice and relaxed. Like that left hand. That's a great way to start developing those buzz rolls. And what you want to do as we're doing that, again, is make sure at all points in the game, no matter what speed we're at, the right hand and the left hand are getting similar qualities of sound, as close as humanly possible. And from what I just observed, there's a little bit of a tendency to want to shortchange that left hand a little bit. So just think about putting a little bit more weight to the initial press and really allowing the fingers to control that without turning it off. Okay. Sometimes your pinky leaves the stick, so just be aware. That's not the end of the world. In your case, watching your right hand, which was getting more consistent sound, that was one of the major differences. So maybe experiment and really see if you can work that left hand out. Okay. So go ahead and work that for next time.
Okay.
And then we'll start doing some more in-depth things with that. Sort of the analog to that is the double. So instead of getting a buzz sound, we're really going to control and the goal is to have two strokes per one macro motion. So, and there's a ton of different ways we can approach this, but exercises 3 and 4 here are, that's exactly what it is. So here's what I want to do. Okay, we're going to start out nice and slow where we're actually able to stroke out each one of these. And I want you, because everybody's hands are different, but I want you to just feel where that transition point is between when really start feeling it as a macro motion, and you're gonna feel you're just gonna feel that fulcrum engage just a little bit more once you cross that bridge, you know. And so experiment with it, but go ahead, start nice and slow, and remember, sound is everything. So get a nice consistent sound, and then just go ahead and ease yourself into it. Good. Okay, so that was good, but you gotta just maintain the control and make sure you're getting a true double, even at those higher temperatures, and not letting any other notes creep in. So, again, I want you to spend some time just working that on your own, and then we'll talk about it next time. But one comment that I do have right off the bat is it's okay to go ahead and let the forearms get involved in the action. Now, again, we're at the point now where we can start talking about that, because you're doing a really good job of initiating the stroke with your wrist, which is exactly what we want. But now we can start talking about allowing that stroke to initiate with the wrist, and there to be some follow through with the forearm. Which is kind of what we want to see, because otherwise there's just not going to be enough weight and direction behind that to get the stick to do what we want to and still stay relaxed. So I want you to try that one more time.
Okay.
And remember, it's not a question of leading. I just want you to relax your arms and your shoulders and naturally let the arm follow what you're doing. That sounded a lot more open and a lot more relaxed than it did the first time. Okay. Again, just little comments, and this is what you can work on, like as you're practicing on your own. Just make sure your hands are balanced. By the end, that left hand was a little more than the right, but that's great. Now the next thing I want to introduce, okay, are flams. Okay, and flams are really tricky for a lot of people, but I just think that they don't need to be. Okay, so all a flam is, okay, we've talked about our stroke types. So we're going to have one full stroke and one tap stroke, just placed at the same time. And the trick is that there doesn't need to be any prep in this primary, in the grace note stroke. It's just a tap. So go ahead and try that. Okay, we'll try a right-handed flam. And just let this guy drop. Doesn't need to do anything else except just drop. Yep, there it is. That was nice. Yeah. Yep. Just be very careful. You're not like that. Yeah, there it is. Cool. Go ahead and left-handed, and same thing. So yeah, add those to your arsenal, okay, and practice just them isolated, and you can do the same thing that we did. Slow down. Or you can do alternating, which is a good thing to do because it starts working those upstrokes that we were talking about. So just spend some time with those. And then what will be really fun is that we can start incorporating all of these into our grids that we were talking about, those 16-mil grids and whatnot. We can do flam grid. And doubles grid. Buzz grid. And so, these grids you can use to work almost anything. Okay. So with that being said, great work.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
All right.
Cool.
Unknown caller.
Ooh,
Oh.
just in time, dude. Jesus.